Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear students, viewers, listeners, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are here, and inshallah ta'ala, this is our last session before the exam of 2000 June 2022. That is 9th of May 2022. We're going to have it. The paper 2, inshallah ta'ala, we all are hoping. I hope it all goes well, because majority of you have worked hard. Any problems you have, please make sure you write it down in the chat. And I'm waiting for your questions. And today our agenda is that number one, how to attempt the paper tomorrow, and also I'll be sharing with you some of the insights into the unit number 8. So I'll start with my insight into the unit number 8, and if any one of you have any problems with the voice, you're not able to hear it clearly, and please do write it down in the chat. Alhamdulillah, some of you are waiting, and we have started today. So let's talk about unit number 8 first, right? And then I'll come back to the others, inshallah ta'ala, like how to attempt paper and what to do and what not to do tomorrow. So the first thing which I would like you to have an insight on is firstly the Quranic passages. The Quranic passages are important, and you have to attempt them. Remember, it's a compulsory question. So what I would expect from you is that make sure you attempt all those questions within the estimate, or within the area which is given to you to solve the question, to write down the answer. Then the next thing in terms of the important hadith, now that is hadith number 1, hadith number 3, hadith number 5, hadith number 7, hadith number 15, hadith number 19, hadith number 20. These are ahadith. I'm not saying the rest of them are not important, but these are the ahadith which are very, very important. Please go through them nicely. So what I am saying here is, let me clearly point out to you. So I'm talking about that hadith number 1, 3, 5, 7, and 15, 17, 19, and 20. So these are the ones which are important. So just make sure you do these ahadith well. Just look at the helping notes because these are the important ones, inshallah ta'ala. So this was about question number 1. Please attempt that question and attempt 2 ahadith out of how many? 4 ahadith. So out of 4 ahadith, you have to do 2, right? So that's something which is important today. The next comes question number 2, which is unit number 6. Yesterday, we had a good discussion, or in the last session, and the link to that session and the rest of the past paper sessions is in the description of today's video. So you can get all those if you want to see something, and all that is there, right? So what I was talking about, unit number 6, we had a good discussion. Please do look at that video, and in that I would like, number 1 question is, authenticity of the hadith. Authenticity of the hadith. That's number one in unit number 6. Followed by compilation of hadith. And you need to have a good understanding of sunnah and hadith. Right? And when you're reading that, do look at the topic of sunnah in the Islamic law and all that. So you will find some good examples there. So that's one. Then we move on to authenticity of hadith is most important, followed by types of hadith and types of books of hadith. You got to be absolutely clear what are we talking about, right? You can send me your questions on there. Some of you saying assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam. So I go back to what I was discussing, unit number 6. So authenticity of a hadith, and the topic that we are talking about is so the types of hadith, types of books of hadith. Sihah Sitta. I've been saying again and again, this year Sihah Sitta is likely. The reason being because they have not given this question for many years now. So that question is there. One. And so 3, but authenticity of the hadith is something which is you can gain a lot of marks by attempting that question, because it's very logical in nature. And as I said in my lectures as well, that the examiner will not have much to deduct. Yes, he will look at those points. But please do not write in points. I'm saying again and again, the whole paper will be in paragraph format. Even if you have to mention a point, just make it's in the paragraph. Okay. Bilal has asked a question: what's the difference between importance, significance? It's one and the same thing. Importance and significance is the same thing, right? If he asks what is the importance of the caliphate of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, or he asks a question, what is the significance of the caliphate of Sayyidina Abu Bakr? Same question. Right? Okay. Move on. So what I was talking about is authenticity of hadith and Sihah Sitta. Please revise that. It's important. And on top of it, the first one is authenticity of hadith, Islamic law, all of them. Right? Quran relationship with Sunnah is super question, and it's very, very important question. Make sure you have references, everything is well prepared there. Then Hadi Baba has asked me a question. Can you tell us about all the battles of Sayyidina Umar? I'll try, Hadi, because that's not the time to understand. My suggestion is open the helping notes and just go through them one by one. And I'll come back to unit numbers, although I discussed a bit in my last lecture, but I want to more focus on unit number 8 and then attempting the question. That's what my focus today. So that's unit 6. Now let's move on to unit 7. In unit number 7, Sayyidina Umar and Sayyidina Abu Bakr have been asked repeatedly for many years now. So the chances that I would suggest, expect a question from Sayyidina Osman. Expect a question from Sayyidina Osman radiallahu ta'ala. And Hadi, I've answered this question reference to the battles. I would recommend on Sayyidina Ali's case, the battle of Jamal and battle of Siffin. In case of Sayyidina Osman, the events of the caliphate of Sayyidina Osman, you will cover those battles as well. But the standardization of the events in the caliphate of Sayyidina Osman is an important question. Please do look at that. Sayyidina Osman's not been touched again, right? So that can be asked, because Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Ali has been consistently being asked, right? So that's important, something which is going to be what do you call it? Maybe in unit number 7, the first thing I would like to prepare is Sayyidina Abu Bakr. And if you notice, there was a question on martyrdom of Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Osman, Sayyidina Ali. So these are all 4 marks questions, and they joined them together and they made a 10 marks question. So election, martyrdom of all the caliphates is important. Please make sure you have good, you got hold of them. And then we got what do you call it? So I'll go back to Sayyidina Osman. So Sayyidina Osman's number 1, followed by followed by Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. So that's something we'll be doing that as well. And so Sayyidina Osman number 1, Sayyidina Abu Bakr number 2, Sayyidina Umar number 3, and Sayyidina Battle Siffin, Battle of Jamal is, because they're consistently asking, the chances are it will be question number 4. Okay, so that was about unit number 7, and don't ignore the last 3 questions in the book, like treatment with non-Muslims, model for the Muslim, model for the present day Muslims, the present day rulers, and the how the rightly guided caliphs as a whole, they what do you call it? Their governance, their government, the administration of them. So these are the important questions, right? And Abdullah Ajmal is asking, what is the important question? I've already told you events in Sayyidina Osman's caliphate, and the very famous question I said yesterday as well in the last session as well, that what were the challenges being faced by Sayyidina Osman? So this comes even more important to the events. So the first question is the challenges faced by Sayyidina, the difficulties faced by Sayyidina Osman radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Then the events in the caliphate of Sayyidina, that standardization of the Quran is an important question, right? So that's going to be on there. So this was a question asked by Abdullah. Then what do you call it? We have another important question being asked by, who's asking this? Muhammad Hanzala is asking the question. He's saying, what does the observance of Hajj mean? Observance of Hajj, my dear, means that how the Hajj is performed. This means the method of Hajj. Now, you've touched upon something. I'll touch on Hajj here, and then I'll want to do this when I'm discussing unit number 8. In Hajj, if you notice, there was a question probably asked in 2021 or something. The part, if you notice, they asked like, what is ihram, what is sa'i, or what is arafah, right, or what is tawaf. So they're asking you the components of Hajj. So you got to know what are those components, what are those, in other words, the glossary of Hajj, right? So the important terms, what are the important terms in Hajj, and what do they mean, like how they do it and all that. And don't forget Umrah. Umrah is an important question that's not been asked for some time, but can come on Hajj as well. So method of Hajj we mean by observance. Now, there is a question, I've already answered this question. How should we answer the question? Rightly guided caliphs, a role model of excellence. My dear, the question is there, like administration and the government of the rightly guided caliphs. That's the answer to this question, right? So please do look at that as well. Observance of Hajj I've already done very nicely. Thank you very much. Bilal has shared. These are the battles in the caliphate of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So the battle of Qadisiyah, I would recommend, that's very important. Whereas battle of Namarok, that's important, right? Siege of Madain can also be used. So these are the top battles which were being fought. And you can mention Battle of Bridge as well. Most of you are aware of those. But please do not, make sure it's a balance. If there are 2 battles comes in, make sure there is a balance between the 2, right? If you don't do that, like you write more about one battle and just 3-4 lines on one, and that's it, you end the question. That is, you are asking the examiner, do not give me marks, please. Right? So do not do that. Okay. All right. Let me see. Any other question? I think, who is this? This is Bilal Umar again. Uh, could you please divine decree is qadar, my dear? There's a question by Abdullah. Could you explain divine decree? Divine decree, or what we call it, taqdeer or qismat, and divine decree, and the qadar is the right term for that. So that we have a free will. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his knowledge, he knows everything what is going to happen, but that does not affect our free will. Then also we know that the risk is fixed as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fixed, number one, our death. Because of death, our age is fixed. And also our risk is fixed as well by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But dua can change it. Right? Now you say that, okay, Allah wrote it down. This was also written in the Quran. Right? So this is something, reference to divine decree. But when you approach that, make sure you give a good introduction about the belief in Allah, about the knowledge of Allah, about the Allah being the sustainer. Allah sustains everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who controls everything. So once you have given that introduction and then you move on in that direction, then the question is going to be very stronger, plus with references. I hope I've explained you in this last hour what is divine decree. Okay, let me see. There are new questions there. Jihad. Abdullah has asked a question. What is jihad? What is jihad? Abdullah, my suggestion to you is, please do look at the video, my video on jihad. So do look at that video. That's going to explain you with reference to, and also the like jihad bin mal, jihad bin nafs, and the physical jihad. All those different types of jihad, they will be explained as well, right? Then the jihad bil lisan you're talking about, like how you control tongue, so the spiritual jihad, or all of them being explained there. Abdullah is asking, I'm really surprised, Abdullah, you're asking about siege of Madain. This is the Persian capital, which was being, because the Muslims moved, and this was being, what do you call it? And the Muslims laid down the siege of Madain. Remember, it's the capital of the Persian Empire, and it was after the siege, the Muslims then conquered this city, or the capital of the Persian Empire, and thus ending the Persian Empire and establishing their rule in Syria and surrounding, and the Persian Empire and all that. Okay, let me see more questions. Should we answer? I think I asked that. Namara, that's done. Difference important, that's done as well. All right. I think I've more or less answered all the questions which are being asked, and I'm just going to look more. Let me see if there are any questions on the Facebook. All right. And right. So we were talking about unit number 7, and let's move on. We've discussed a little bit about Hajj, and now we're going to move on to unit number 8, and we're going to be talking about the first of all, salah. I've already told most of you that please make sure that all of you know salah very well. Okay, salah has many questions in it: Friday prayer, mosque there, method of salah, preparing for salah. Right, so that's an important question. So get that question done, and then we have what do you call it? The importance of salah. So these are the questions in salah. Please, that's priority number 1. Now, salah again has been asked by the examiner consistently for 5 years. Right. So in the last 5 years, this topic is of greater significance. So we're going to do salah first, followed by belief in prophets. Belief in prophets is one of the favorite questions of the examiners from unit number 8. We've been joined by Fatima. Fatima, wa alaikum assalam. Father said, can you repeat what I said? Fatima, what I said to you is that, so what I said is, in unit number 8, Hajj I've already discussed. Make sure you know the glossary of the Hajj. What are the terms? What do they mean? And the method of Hajj. You've got to be absolutely clear. Do not mix the dates, mix the places together. Salah. Salah is the most important one, and that's all the questions of Salah. That is importance of Salah, preparing for Salah, method of Salah, Friday prayers, mosque, dua. All these questions should be ready. No selective study in Salah. Then we move on to I'm getting some shocking questions now. Then we move on. I was talking about belief in prophets. Belief in prophets, my dear, I've told you it's little late, but I'll still tell you. The reason I'm saying is, look at this shocking question. Ismail asked, I'm happy, Ismail, you asked this question. Please do ask me questions. I'm very happy. Whatever questions you have in mind, I'm ready to answer that, inshallah ta'ala, in the short time that I have. Okay, the question is, what is the best way to, I would say, revise articles of faith? Number 1, take out an article. Let's say belief in prophets. In belief in prophets, you got references. The key to a question of articles is the references. So with the reference, because you take one reference, you explain that, then the other, then the other, then the other, and that's how you make the question in the articles. So the references are important. So if you're still struggling, belief in prophets is something I want you to be, very good at it. It's very easy. Lots of prophets' names there. If you can mention the reference, and if it's difficult for you to having a grasp of those references, learn the reference numbers. Right? Learn the reference numbers, and then once you've done that, and then try to do the reference and then the topic. So this is how I would suggest you should do the question on the what do we call it? The articles of faith. Yeah. So I was talking about Salah, number 1. Number 2 is belief in prophets. Number 3 is belief in angels. Belief in angels, again, Mostly it's been asked as a 4 marks question or as 5 plus 5, like with the belief of prophets, belief in angels, with Tawheed, with sometimes belief in the revealed books and the belief in angels. So that then we come to Tawheed. Recently, so Shahada and Tawheed. When you're preparing that, just prepare them together. The reason why, because there's Shahada, in Shahada, the first part of Tawheed is nearly the same. So the same references will work, so please learn them. And Haris asked me a question, and that was a very interesting and a confusing question asked on Tawheed, right? So make sure you understand the question. And there will be a question on shirk as well, right? So when we talk about shirk, what do we talk about? Number one, there is one God, right? So he has no partner. So no partnership with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we talk about what do you call it now? That's what Abdullah asked as well. So that's one thing. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attributes, right? Allah is all knowledgeable. So there is nobody equal to that. So in his attributes, then you're going to have another paragraph on that. Like he's the most forgiving, he's most kind, right? He's the sustainer of the whole world, of the universe, and everybody. And he knows everything what's happening, right? And then the references comes in. References of Tawheed comes handy here, right? And then the references are shirk as well. So the best thing I would suggest to you, if you are feeling uncomfortable on preparing the shirk, prepare a 4 marks question. It's in your helping notes, which is in your copy, right? So prepare that, and then you go to what do you call it, the 10 marks question on shirk. So that's one, and it's nicely written also in the past papers, the solutions of the past papers, right? But do not go into nitty gritties and all that, and no need to waste time. Like for example, there was a discussion going on. Like I warned you lot not to get involved in irrelevant discussions, like the daggers with which Sayyidina Umar was being. There was a question being asked. I don't know if it's been asked here or not. I'll just share that the dagger with which Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was attacked, was it poisoned or not? Don't get into these discussions, my dear. Right? But for your information, it was poisoned because remember, the person has one chance, and if he's successful, he has to make sure he kills the caliphs, right? Amir al Mu'mineen. So it's quite obvious that he will make sure that it's poisoned and all that. Anyway, so Radicali Caliphs, I think we talked about that already. That how they govern, what was the administration, what they did well. So all this as a model of excellence. If you read this question carefully, you'll get the answer, inshallah. Hadi Babar is saying it's a long question. Let me see if I can get it there. Okay. Yeah, that's the same one. Then we have okay, overview of the leadership qualities of the Caliph. My dear, if you read it, the question is like if you tell us important references, they are there already in the book. Go and have a look at it. So the question being asked by Fatima, can you give us an overview of the leadership qualities? Well, yeah, I've already said, please do read. Uh, all right, with reference to zakat, there is a question. Zakat is, and again, an important pillar of Islam, and in that you make sure who is entitled to what is zakat. That's very easy, everybody knows. who is entitled to give zakat, and who is entitled to receive zakat. Just do these 4 marks question, zakat will be done for you. Right. I hope I've answered your question. Please do look at that. Then I'm really amazed you haven't got that. And the end of the book, if you look at those 3 questions are there, the leadership qualities are there, my dear. Like, they were just, and they were approachable. Everybody could access them. Plus, they knew what is the problems the people are facing. They invested in the infrastructure within the empire, right? They established new cities. They recognized the new areas, so they developed the new areas. Like even till today, Basra, which was being established by Sayyidina Umar, or for start, which was established in Misr, right, is still of a great significance. That shows their vision, their ability to see things and to lead the whole empire. And then the justice was one of that. And then, like, if you can give, Sayyidina Umar used to call the whole of the government was present in hajj. So if you have any grievances against anyone, you can get it. It was like, nowadays we got the portal, right? You launch a campaign and launch a complaint, and it's there. So in Umar's time, the portal was the hajj time. So every government official nearly used to be there. And if you have any complaints or grievances, they could be dealt with there and then. So that was a great system in there. I hope I've answered your question. Right, I've got some more questions coming up. I've already explained that with reference to leadership. Zakat is a 10 marks question. Please do prepare that. So that was the question is importance zakat. Importance zakat, my dear, is a 4 marks question, right? But zakat itself is a 10 marks question. Oh, right. Important references. Important reference, I would suggest Tawheed and belief in prophets. So make sure Shahada and all that. So that those are there. Hamad is the benefits of dua in Muslims. My dear Hamad, the benefits are, mashallah, they're tremendous, right? On individual. Now let's look at it. Individual, community, right? So what happens to you? You improve, right? You're able to see who are good to others. You being good to others, you improve yourself. You give rights of others as well. You're fulfilling your duties. When you're fulfilling the duties of yourselves, right? So you see that the amount of change which is happening individually, and then eventually it will have an impact on the community as well. So it's tremendous benefits. Right? So I've just touched on a few of them. So, but I've given you the hint that when you start, one is individual and the other is community. So half of the individual, half the community. Your question done and dusted. If it's 10 marks question, if it's 4 marks question, be very precise, and each of the sentence should be well calculated. Okay, we have. All right, that's done. Benefits of the method. Who's this? Mr. Abdullah Ajmal. Method of prayer. If you open the topic of prayer, salah, and if you open your helping notes, there are 16 points there which will be helpful in the method of the prayer. So please go and have a look at them. Inshallah ta'ala, it will be very helpful for you. Yes, please. Okay, so this was, so let me go back. Lots of questions, mashallah, been asked. So let me go back and ask you. So we were talking about unit number 8. So first is salah, second is belief in prophets, followed by belief in angels, zakat as well, Fasting is something which has been missing. So the surprise may come from fasting, right? So please do revise fasting as well. 4 marks question and all that, all those 10 marks questions related to that. So who can forego fast? That's a very important 4 marks question. Then we move on to reveal books again. The references are important. They're very easy as well. Belief in prophets, I'm saying again and again, that's an important question. And so with that, alhamdulillah, we've covered some. I'm just going to take a quick break. And if you still have any question, please write it down. I'll be back in, inshallah ta'ala, a few seconds or something. Jazakallah khair. Okay, everyone. So the last question we have was a method of prayer. And so, alhamdulillah, we had good amount of questions today. And I hope this session was of good use. Now, something for tomorrow. I would like you to make sure every one of you, now you know where the center is, how to reach there. And I want you to be there maximum 8:15. Maximum. Okay, try to reach there before 8 o'clock. And be calm. Make sure you have your ID cards with you. Make sure you have the right pencil case with you. Then also, it's very important that you remain calm. No need to get into any hectic discussion. No need to get into any to convince anyone that that is the question which is coming. Do that. No need to do that, please. Just focus on your own work. No new learning, revision, revise. What I've just given you some hints. Please do that, and also. And the question is, will you be posting the video on your channel? Yes, this video will be there, inshallah ta'ala. The same link will be available. You can access that. You can watch the video again, inshallah ta'ala. So it will be available, inshallah kareem, for you. So, what I was talking about was that, so make sure you're calm, right? So, and take good sleep. I don't want sleepy people going to the examination hall and what do you call it, not able to concentrate. Many of you get headache for that. Okay, no problem. Just finish your day. It's nearly 8:30 now, so finish your day at around 11:30 max. Go to bed. Okay, get up early in the morning, offer your Fajr prayer, and ask dua. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessings. And as a teacher, wherever in the world you are, right, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. You've made an effort to understand, not although you're going for the Cambridge examination, but you made an effort to understand your Lord. You made an effort to understand his religion, Islam. You made an effort to understand his beloved Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, Alhamdulillah, may Allah accept our efforts and may Allah give us more so that we learn more and more about Islam. There's a lot to learn, my dear, right? May Allah guide us all, and also one last thing I forgot to answer last time. Jannat asked me a question: timing. Your question number one is make and break. So your question number one is something which is make and break. So your question number one, right, is make or break of the paper. So, that question number one is very, very important. Please make sure you do it on time, within time. All of you know that you have to finish one passage within 6 minutes. The question number one within 12 minutes. The 10 marks question should be done within 20 minutes. And the 4 marks question should be done in 6 minutes. So all this should be done as per the time. Please do not eat. Plan as if that's why I'm always saying plan your paper, right? And do the question which you know best first because it's already allocated to you, so you can't move the papers here and there. And those who write big, please try to write a little small, right? Because I don't know what's going to be tomorrow. Will they give you extra sheets or not? But I recommend not to take extra sheets. Please do the work within the allocated booklet which is given to you, allocated space which is there. So question number one is something very, very important, and it's going to make a tempo of your whole paper. So it all depends on question number one, right? So, Jazakallah khair. That's all from my side today. May Allah bring barakah, and may Allah make things easier for all of you. Inshallah ta'ala. The same channel, I'll be sharing with you more information regarding that and other subjects as well. So take good care of yourselves and ask your mothers for dua as well, right? And your elders. Take good care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.